All right, cool. So I guess we hit with a little intro. What's going on, YouTube? Kronos here, and welcome back to the PSO2 video. I know it's been a long time. Actually, a little over 2 weeks. Been super busy with a lot of things going on over Final Fantasy 14. But recently, last couple of days, we can come back to PSO2. Been doing a bit of streaming, and I figured, why not check out all the PS2 and GS stuff. So if you were around for the stream this morning, around 6:30 a.m. EST, as I was, you would have seen a lot of this footage. A lot of this stuff is really, really cool, actually. I'm super excited for it. We're going to go over what they have posted on Bumped, the cool things that I noticed in the stream. We're going to watch the trailer. I'm actually going to probably, you know what? I thought I wanted music in the background, but I don't. I think I'm just going to get rid of the music. We're just going to kind of go with just my voice and kind of go like we usually do with our videos itself. I'm going to talk over a lot. We're going to go over a lot of things that I saw, my thoughts, some of the cool stuff. We're not going to watch all the footage. I'm going to link the footage in the video description so you guys can watch it on your own. You guys can get the full experience in case you didn't get a chance to watch the stream. It's actually a lot of really, really cool stuff. But I'm going to go over some of my highlights personally, and just kind of like my site reads, what I saw, what I thought was really, really cool, right? So, as always, if you guys are like OG watchers of the channel, you guys know I used to go to Bump for a lot of things. Thank you to Ricardo for posting all this stuff. Super, super helpful. Bumped is an amazing. This site's been around for so freaking long. It's insane. I think this was around like I think this was around like before PSU, or at least PSU around that time frame. So like PSU, PSPI, and like PSO2 now. So it's insane how long this website's been around. Super, super huge thanks to these guys. And they don't get nearly. I'm gonna start donating to these guys. They don't get nearly enough, dude. It's ridiculous. Part of the stream revenue is probably gonna go to them because they provide tons and tons of content. So let us jump into this. So this is updating in real time. They go over like the history of PSO2, which is kind of cool. You see the original game came out in December 2000. We have Phantasy Star Online 2 coming out in July of 2012. Whew. And we have PSO2 and GS scheduled for release in 2021. Now, I believe at the time that they did the this specific live stream, they talked about this. They actually mentioned that the anniversary for PSO or for Phantasy Star Online was, they said the day after tomorrow. So I think it would be either tomorrow or the day after. Actually, you know what? It just hit midnight. So it's the 20th where I am. So I think it would be tomorrow or maybe today. I'm not sure which of these 2 days. I'd have to find out. But kind of crazy, kind of cool. So they talk about some of the new feature stuff. They talk about the graphics engine update that they're going to be going into. I'm actually going to cut over to the video when we show off this stuff, but we're going to read through some of the things they have. So talk about basically what the game itself is for people who don't know. The world is 1,000 years after the events of PSO2, renewed graphics engine, huge open fields, exhilarating battles, super customizable characters. And by the way, they delivered on this pretty hard. If anything else, if you don't watch the full live stream, watch the section they go through character customization. They take a male human character, and by the time they're done with the character, it looks like a completely different race and a completely different gender. It's insane. Actually super cool. The character customization is completely non-binary, and it's actually like, it's insane how many options there are. I'm actually really excited for that. There's some pretty cool characters gonna be created. Either way, it also talks about, of course, you can move freely between both games, and they show that off in the trailers. We're gonna jump around in that in a little bit, and I'll show you guys what I mean. They also show for you, you're really playing either world. They updated my boy's face, dude. They updated his face, guys. His face is better now. It's not that cursed image face he had previously. I think this is kind of closer to what his cursed image face looked like, but they upgraded his face so he doesn't look super, super terrible. Is this like his cursed image face? Is this it? And this is closer to it as well. They have a better one. I'll show it in the trailer. It looks a lot better, but they show off the character. Let's go ahead and jump into the trailer. Let's watch that really quick. So hang on a second, guys. Let's pause this, minimize that a little bit, and let's watch the trailer. Didn't want it to be too loud. That's crisp. So you can see this is a bit of a change on the original trailer. You see the dolls much earlier, which is pretty cool. You know, the boy's meme face is gone. Look at him. He's so angry. He was tired of getting memed on Twitter, dude, and Reddit. see the photon sword forming up, and then the slice, dude. Oh, that's so good. Actual lyrics too. I'm gonna show off a couple of things. I'm gonna call it out when I see it. So right here, you see him swap weapons. This is a system that they're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about in a little bit. Yeah, that's not just a trailer thing, by the way. What's really cool, a lot of people missed. Watch right there in the top bottom left-hand corner. I'm actually gonna freeze frame it for you guys, because a lot of people thought this was just twin daggers. Those aren't twin daggers. That's a double saber. Just how in the original trailer we saw Knuckles showing off, and we actually, like, they didn't announce that Knuckles were actually going to be there. They didn't show him off or anything like that. You can see a double saber. He does look substantially more Japanese, yes. Again, the doll enemy is showing up. She's back to twin daggers. This is supposed to be like a node to the urgent quest system. The face looks a lot better, right? Like, it looks substantially better than it originally looked. It was pretty memed heavily, so pretty good. Anyway, so the stream revealed the main visual upgrade for PSO2 and GS, showed off some pretty cool stuff. We could see some graphics overall, some really crisp looking backgrounds, looking enemies. The character doesn't look nearly as bad in the face, thank God. But they do talk about the story a little bit. So the Arcs appear in New Genesis, but this time they're defending a planet called Halpha from the dolls. The battle against the dolls has been going on for decades, but no one knows where they come from or why they're attacking. The Arcs consist of the Halfian people, or the Halfian people, with their other individuals arriving to the planet. These mysterious people are known as Meteorans, and they arrive from outer space through pods. So this is kind of how we show up. We're Meteoran, and we have no memory of our previous life. We have no idea where we came from. However, we join Arcs to help the Halfins. So pretty cool stuff. And then they start showing off classes. So for those of you guys who were concerned about your classes being introduced into the game, now I will preface this. They do specifically say that these are the classes that will be in the closed beta test, not all the classes that will be available at launch. So they're beta testing these classes first and these weapons. Also, they noticed that all of the classes only have access to one weapon type. The only one that has access to two are gunners, because gunners have access to both TMGs and rifles. They mentioned this during the stream, so I would recommend checking that out specifically. But they show off Fighter. Fighter is going to be Knuckles in the beta test. They show off some of the attacks. Really cool stuff. We're going to watch the video for this stuff here. But we just used the first of the three classes in the previous recap, but this time they revealed. So, of course, we had the other classes beforehand, which were Hunter, Ranger, and Force. They also introduced Fighter, Gunner, and Tector. Yes, they pronounce it Tector. It is actually pronounced Tector, even though I hate it. It's actually that's how it's, but we're going to call it Tector, because forget that. Fighters get a close range combat. They use Knuckles to hit the enemy with quick succession, and they can also sway to dodge attacks. So you can see the Knuckle sway that's in there, pretty really good. Gunner. Thank God these changes showed up. We're going to check them out in the video, but one of the first things I noticed for Gunner was Stylish Roll. Third Stylish Roll no longer slows you down. You don't have to worry about doing cancels for Stylish Roll. And chain builds on you, not on the target. So you no longer have to worry about losing your chain because a target dies. You just have to have a target to hit. Hopefully that works out in your advantage. And then last but not least, we have Tector. Tector can perform their usual one-element explosions, and you can also block attacks. You have access to your techs as usual. They showed off changing elements, so it's pretty much normal Tector stuff. And from what we noticed, they also had access that looked like Heavy Hammer here. I don't think they actually used it, but either way. So like they mentioned, these are the 6 classes we'll have during the beta test. It's going to be Hunter, might as well be Hero. Hunter with Sword, Ranger with Assault Rifle, Force with Rod, Fighter with Knuckles, Gunner with TMGs, and they also technically have access to Assault Rifle, and Tector with Wand. So cool stuff there. Now each of these classes will be able to equip 2 to 3 different weapon types. However, during the closed beta test, they'll only be able to equip one type of weapon. The announcements for new weapon types will be revealed at later dates. So, like I said, they're going to talk about that stuff later. For those of you guys who didn't want the subclass system, unfortunately, it's still here, but it's working in a bit of a different manner. The subclass system will allow you to, of course, select subclasses and then use weapons from other classes. Now, this is a little bit weird for us to understand at first, but basically the way this is going to work out, you remember I mentioned from the trailer where you saw the main character swap between sword and rifle? Well, you can actually actively take two weapons, combine them together into a multi-weapon system, have both weapon attack types on one palette, which they actually show off here a little bit. I'll see if I can get a decent view of it. You can see here you've got, oh, where is it? Where is it? Does it show it off? Oh, they don't, not in these pictures. Yeah, here it goes. So you can see here he has sword normal attack, but then he has rifle PAs here as well. I think rifle normal attack is here, and then like another PA here or something along those lines. Or these might both be PAs. I don't remember exactly. But essentially what ends up happening, oh yeah, no, this is rifle normal attack. These are both PAs. Basically what ends up happening is you can take two weapons, you kind of slam them together in a sense, and then you have access to both normal attack and the PAs on one palette, allowing you to actively swap between the weapons as you go along. Now, this was a bit of a concern for some people because you're thinking, oh, what about, you know, main stat and, striking and range and tech? And actually, Annabelle, if you could go ahead and post that link in chat for me really quick, I will pull it up for the video if you still happen to have that Reddit link. But there's not something you have to worry about in this situation itself. But they show this off. They show off sword and assault rifle, and they show off rod and knuckles, which they freeze something with rod, and then they just jump in and punch the crap out of it, which is kind of cool. But the multi-weapon system is actually pretty solid, and it's akin to the hero weapon swap system in a sense, where you just press a PA. Okay, so that's just the weapon swap stuff. So with the multi-weapon swap system, you can put actions and photon arts together on one weapon type. On one palette. Well, I can't read. With the multi-weapon system, you can put the actions and photon arts of another weapon type into your main weapon. For example, you can freely switch between sword and assault rifle, or even wand and knuckles without changing the weapon palette. So it allows you to just quick swap, and it gives you more access to players who weren't playing on PC, if you were, say, playing on console, being able to switch weapons quickly. That was kind of one of the takeaways that I had from the situation itself here. Was really, really cool. People can actually weapon swap super, super fast, and that's available to everyone. We've seen the sprint, we've seen the glide. They also added in wall kicking. Basically, if you jump towards a wall and jump again, you can like kick yourself up to jump over barriers, as well as swimming. Kind of cool. I don't think it really means anything. It's kind of more of like just a quality, well, I guess it's a quality of life thing, just something fun to do. So that's kind of interesting there. So mags and New Genesis, mags are going to be quite different. Oh, hang on, let's grab that screen grab really quick, guys. Let's pop over, because like I said, I am streaming at the moment. This is live, but stats have been streamlined, by the way, so you don't have to worry about main stats of all different types. At least during the beta test or what they showed off, it was just attack and defense, meaning scaling types are gonna be a lot easier to work with in NGS. So cool stuff there. I'm not sure how that's gonna, well, actually no, that's gonna be different. I was gonna say I'm not sure how that plays out for our damage types, but let's see how that works out. But that's kind of cool, right? I'm actually pretty happy about that. But anyway, so mags are quite different from their PSO2 counterparts, since they no longer support you in battle. In New Genesis, they act more like a helpful partner who becomes a portable terminal in the story. In addition, they also react to new facilities in the open fields as you approach them. So we have the teleporting devices. I'm glad they didn't forget about Ryuko devices. Kind of cool stuff here. But you can teleport with Ryuko devices. They show off that you actually can go to one of these devices and teleport to other ones. You activate them as you go and find them around the map, and then you can also teleport to them from anywhere on the map to these locations itself from just opening up your map itself. So super cool there. They also have instance dungeons itself. They only showed off these instance dungeons and instance quests, and showed off some of them are used for like training things where you're running through stuff or doing puzzles. Some just have tons of enemies inside them, and they also have multiplayer ones specifically too. The cool things there. We're hoping they do a little bit more with these instance dungeons, and again, we'll look over those in the video itself. They talk about, they're called cocoons essentially, but yeah, you can see them here. Let's see. For example, the main mission wants you to reach the end. The side mission will task you with challenges such as clearing within 5 or 10 minutes. So there are multiple different missions within them, it looks like. So that's kind of cool here. They talk about emergency trials. So emergency trials pop up randomly around the world. Trials can occur randomly, just like in PSO2. 2 new trials revealed today showcase the arcs intercepting Dahl control aircrafts and clearing out of an assembly point. So basically destroying an assembly point and then intercepting a ship. You actually see them like take it down. It's kind of cool. We'll review that as well. There's a region mag, basically Big Mama mag. A gigantic mag will give a boost to all players on a ship. Everyone can participate by feeding it various materials to boost their rate. There appears to be a social boost and a personal boost. For example, a social boost increase experience rate by 10%. Personal boost could be increased rare drop rate by 10%. So looks like it'll be useful to jump into. Now, This one is a little bit concerning for some people, I know, so give it a minute. Urgent quests. So urgent quests seem to still be a thing in NGS. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people weren't a huge fan of that. And for people who aren't really super familiar with the end game of PSO2, urgent quests are a big part of the end game. A lot of things are gated behind urgent quests, needing to do them. And the way that urgent quests works, or they work, are they're either scheduled or unscheduled. Most of the time, they're the scheduled ones you're really looking towards. You have to be in line when these happen, and you can sometimes be gated behind not being able to get to these urgent quests. Sometimes it's completing 10 of them, completing 50, so on and so forth to get really, really good weapons. And it kind of sucks. You can't just fight the boss whenever you feel like it. Now, on global, we are a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more spoiled in that sense because we have access to more triggers than JP had over the course of the game itself. But they recognize that people really want to be able to do these fights and actually be able to get gear and things of that sort. And of course, global's on accelerated timetable, so we have to be able to have access to things that we didn't have access to before. So in this situation itself, these can occur random areas in the field. It looks like it doesn't seem to be scheduled or anything along those lines, and you just get teleported to an instance to fight a boss. It honestly depends on how they decide to do this system. If it's super heavily needed for like end game gear and things of that sort, it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt, just because like you're going to be running around looking for urgent quests or waiting around looking for urgent quests or have to be online for them. But if it's kind of like just a cool thing where you have extra loot you can get a hold of, have a chance at some rare materials or maybe some rare gear or something along those lines, but it's not completely gating you for your end game, then it'll be a fun time. It'll be a fun time to have. Like fighting the boss has always been fun. Everyone wants to fight these bosses as much as possible, but the biggest issue with it was it gated end game gearing. So that was, that's a problem. Hopefully that's not the case here. We'll have to wait and see what happens after the beta test. Here afterwards, they go through just the Arc City, showing it off. We'll go over this in the video itself. We're not going to talk about a lot of these things here. It just talks about NPCs, talks about some of the areas, the upgrading. So we will talk about the item enhancement here, and then we'll show it in the video itself. So feature item enhancement. The item lab so far has the following features: item grinding, limit breaking, ability affixing, potential unlocking, and multi-weapon. You can grind your items to make them stronger. The demonstration appears to be using the NT grinding system, which is good. Just feed items into your weapon, upgrades them, no RNG involved. Special ability affixing lets you add effects onto your weapon. The demonstration, they affixed the sword by upslotting it. They affixed a sword by supplying it. I almost said upslotting, and I cringed a little bit. But by supplying it with ×10 C Power 1 capsules and ×10 Form Soul 1s. The capsules led to 100% success rate for the Power 1s and 90% success rate for the Form Soul 1s. It appears each capsule adds success rate for their special abilities. One gave 10%. It looks like it was 10% for power success rate for one. That's why they put 10 of them in. And it looks like one Form Soul 1s is a 9% per cap that was used. So 10 of those gave him 90%. 10 of these gave him 100%. So it was 100%. Not too bad there. The biggest takeaway here was that these weapons just had slots. It wasn't like you were taking other weapons and moving the affixes over. It basically is almost kind of like using the pop items or the add ability items that we use currently on global and on JP, just to add stuff in. So it's a little bit better in my opinion personally. Kind of reminds me of the materia system for Final Fantasy. So hopefully this actually works out being a bit better. It seems like it is so far, and I'm kind of excited for that too. The feature multi-weapon thing that I talked about beforehand. First, select your base weapon, then you add the weapon that will be used as material. Once you finish the process, your base weapon will gain access to the second weapon category. So basically just slap a weapon together. Pick a base, another weapon on top of it. Talks about finger movement. The meme is here. The meme is wonderful. I shall point it to you. Haha. Finger movement's cool stuff there. Communication just talks about communication. There's going to be another option for communication called stamps outside of just the standard use of things that we have available to us. And then it talks about how to log in the game. During the login screen, you'll have option to log into PSO2 or NGS. And of course, at either the Riker devices or at the blockchain, you'll be able to swap between different instances of the game itself. Fairly simplistic, fairly intuitive. They show off a little bit more of the graphics renewal, so you can see a little bit more in depth. This is not the greatest picture, unfortunately. Again, something we'll look at in the video itself, but swap back and forth, fairly simplistic. But that's really about all they showed. They said this feature is scheduled to be released in February, but I think they were talking specifically about JP at the time. They might have been talking about global, or they're talking about the entire game overall. I'm not sure if that means that the entire game is set to be caught up to JP by February. We'll have to see how that works out. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments below. But we've talked enough about everything that's on this list. Let's actually take a look at some of these things. So we're going to pop over to here. We don't need this anymore. We watched it already. And we're going to go ahead and scrub through some of the footage of the cool things that I noticed personally that I wanted to show off. So if I can get to it individually, having timestamps would have been fantastic, but that would be far too easy for me. So here's where they talk about the world. We'll go ahead and go over that. This is where they mention about the world itself that we're going into, the planet Alpha, fighting against unknown threats called the dolls. The dolls are just attacking for no reason. We don't have an actual reason behind it, so that's kind of interesting itself. This is most of the stuff we kind of went over, so actually I don't think we need to go through this again. Yeah, it talks about the Meteoran is what we are, have no memory, so on and so forth. So yeah, we don't need to worry about this too much. Let's jump to the combat section. The combat section is actually really, really important.
That's action. Now fighting action.
To the comments for a timestamp, that's actually pretty helpful. So they talk about the Hunter.
First up is the Hunter. They are good in the standard combat.
Pretty simplistic stuff. I mean, we've already seen a lot of Hunter movements here. Kind of small little nuances. You have, of course, the ability to dash through and
next is the Ranger. They are good in
what is it called? The ability to counterattack and things of that sort. So I mean, we've seen a lot of these things already.
Over the shoulder view. Please pay attention.
Seen a few. These are a few new PAs. We haven't seen some of these PAs. Kind of cool. They show the over-the-shoulder camera. Apparently, they took some feedback from the players, and that the over-the-shoulder camera was a bit too far away. They moved that back in, which is kind of cool. And of course, we see Force. Force is still Force. Have access to block. Very reminiscent of Etwal, actually. Etwal wand. So pretty cool there. Have the ability to block. Very nice. The ability to dodge and counter as well. So pretty cool things there. And then they show off Fighter. Okay. So Fighter's pretty crazy. I get the feeling a lot of people who play Melee are gonna play Fighter in the beta just because of how fast it is. I know I personally am a big fan of dual blades. I don't have access to them if I get a chance to get into the beta, and I probably will play Fighter because of it. Like, not gonna lie, probably want to play Knuckles because of it. You can see the sway that pops in there too. It's just a very, very fast-paced, very, you know, kind of in-your-face fight. I mean, there's a bit of hit stop with the attacks, which I'm not a huge fan of. It's very what was I looking for? Very meaty attacks, and they show off Gunner.
Next is the Gunner. This class is good in mid to close range.
As you notice, Gunner does not have to worry about the third S roll at all slowing down, which is really, really nice. If you pay attention to the bottom right hand corner in just a moment, run around the corner of the character themselves actually in just a second. It looks like the forward S roll, by the way, is built into the actual class, which is really nice, and it's not like a forward barrel roll. It's like a forward twist. Gunner PA is pretty cool stuff there.
Wow, she is cool. And Gunner is so strong.
Still haven't shown it off yet. They've actually showed a lot of Gunner, which is kind of interesting.
Wow,
there it is. You look at the bottom right hand corner, actually the right hand side, they zoom in for you. Chains are built on your character and not on the actual target. So you don't have to worry about you losing your chains. Detonate your chain still works seemingly the same way, so pretty cool things there. Then we have Tekker. Tekker's a bit more grounded than Forces. Force is a bit more floaty. Tekker's a bit more grounded. Looks like you have access to Heavy Hammer from what we can tell. I don't know if he uses it or not. You have a parry. I'm not parry, I'm sorry. You have a dodge attack, of course. You have your wand explosions. Pause. Why are we pausing? Why are we pausing? Hang on a second. What's the pause for? Remember, we're live recording a video. There was a wand AoE PA. Let's see.
Exclusive weapon. wand.
Actually, I think I see what you're saying. Hang on. Pop back a couple of frames. Come on. What is that? That'll be interesting to figure out what that means.
They can add the same attributes from the choice.
It doesn't look like they ever use it though, unfortunately, so we can't tell.
As a TEC explosion during melee attacks. Ah, okay.
So it looks like Juan might be getting more PAs, which is good.
Add attributes? Okay. All right, I see it.
No, I missed it too. It's actually really good to go back and actually find it. So. Oh, there's the parry. Okay, so that's what that PA is. That's what that is. That's the actual block that Tekker has.
Move on to the next action without becoming immobile.
So Juan looks like they got another PA. We'll have to figure out what that is because it doesn't look like they ever use it, unfortunately. So they only show off those classes specifically. Then they talk about the subclassing system, of course. You have access to being able to grab other classes. It looks like the cap is going to be 15 in the beta itself.
You can use not only the main class weapon,
and they show off your weapon having access. It looks like the weapon has access to, yeah, there you go. So the main weapon, the normal attack will be the normal attack as usual, but then you also will have access to PAs from the other weapon, which is kind of crazy. And of course, like mentioned beforehand, there is no split attack stats. It's just attack in general, which is kind of nice.
So you can use both. Oh, he changed the hold of the bat.
So you could kind of like cherry pick what weapon has the better normals and then use PAs. They show off, of course. Again, this is the Force Fighter, which is kind of crazy.
Come close. It's really different.
They show off the Photon Dash again.
Next, I will introduce basic actions. First is the Photon Dash. You can transition into high-speed movement, and
that is a concern, though, is to find out if they can be unfused. The weapons can be unfused, but we'll have to find out. I mean, again, I'm sure there's going to be a system for it. I doubt it's going to be kind of like a guarantee, or not a guarantee, but it's going to be a something that's going to be consistent. Like you have to, if it's stuck. We'll have to see. We got the Photon Dash or the Photon Glide. We've seen these before. They're pretty simplistic. They show off the glide for other
distance while gliding in air.
Other class types.
Glide. Oh, so we went across. Even that cliff. Wow. So it's descending and goes.
And they show off, this is the wall kick. You have the ability to kick up higher.
It helps you to move to higher places by jumping one step automatically when you keep moving forward towards the wall or obstacle.
Very, very nice. It's actually really, really cool. Honestly, like it's a lot of really, really interesting movement tech.
Cool.
Moving around the world is going to seem fun.
Looks good.
And then, of course, they show off the swimming action. There's not really a reason for this. It's just kind of here. It's nice that it's there.
Series for the first time.
So we can swim, which is cool.
How far can you go?
All right. Someone said that there was a user that, that timestamped everything. So combat action, open field. Here's Central City. This is they go through the city itself. This is kind of the base of operations, Central City.
And located in the
super unique name. Yes, I'm well aware.
Serves as the base for art and arts, and the main hub like other RPGs.
We're gonna mute the audio. We'll just kind of walk through it ourselves. They had a lot of different translators on, some better than others, so we're just gonna kind of talk about it on our end here. So they kind of go through the base of operations. They show how it looks during the day, and they also show how it looks at night. At night, of course, it looks better because almost everything looks better at night. But that's pretty par for the course. Kind of see how it looks. It's actually pretty nice. Pretty pog. It's nice that it's outside. For once, we're not like confined within the ship. It's nice to be outside a little bit. A lot of different shops around here too. That's the interesting thing is we don't go into any of these shops while we're looking around here. You can see the terminals. That's pretty normal. Kind of walk through a little bit more. This is all pretty basic stuff. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to see here. Show off kind of like a nightclub-ish looking area, an area to sit down and kind of chat, area to have meetings or so on. Of course, the giant screen, what we all know from PSO2, where they show off usually trailers. They talk about essentially the equivalent to client orders. They're called tasks in NES or NGS. So they have tasks complete tasks, get experience, get items. Pretty self-explanatory. Pretty much what we're used to. They have food items. Looks like food buffs you can get a hold of yourself, or you can get a hold of. They seem to apply immediately. Yeah, seems to apply immediately. I'm sure those will only be up for a certain amount of time. City's pretty empty. Yeah, it's fairly large, so it's got a lot going on, but there's no one else in it other than the main character. Then they show off the item enhancement features here. This is where you can see that they're upgrading an item. They feed another item to it. Fairly simplistic there. Pretty much the type of upgrading that we're used to at this point. Then they show off the affixing. So here's what I was talking about beforehand. I want to pause here. If we actually go back a little bit. First off, can we take a moment to realize this is like a strange combination of both Dudu and Monica, but you know what? Moving on from there. So it seems like rarity might be affecting the number of slots you can actually have in your weapon. I'm not sure if it's because if you look at all these weapons are, 1 star, but they all have 2 slots. They're 0 of 2. So we select the weapon, it gives us all of the individual pop items. So this is what they were going through in the bump section. We'll actually jump over to it really quick. Where is it? Here we go. So they're talking about he takes power 1 and Formus Soul. So we can actually see it in real time. He tops on 10 of these. It looks like every single one he puts on there, this is, yeah, they're 10%. He puts 10 of those on. Slaps on 10 more of these. We can see it's relatively, cuts into the money a little bit. And then, so what happens here at this point is then because he used those items, it gave him the option to increase or to use these. So of course this was 100%. This was 90% for the second augmentation slot. He's going to select both. And like in PSO2 fashion, it looks like you have the option. I'm assuming this will probably be some form of increase to these percentages. This might be like a protection item or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what that is going to be, but we'll have to see. And then it looks like these passed. No failures. We're good to go there. So pretty cool stuff. I like this a little bit better personally. So we'll have to see how this ends up working out overall. Now we're going to see the multi-weapon add system. So it looks like he selects, or the player selects a sword first as the base weapon. So this is our base. They select a rifle to go with it. Looks like it's, I think it costs a little bit of money. Looks like it costs 50K. It's not cheap. It's a bit expensive for the amount of money that they have. Assuming that's the money they have, that's the cost, and that's what they're going to have left. About 50K. Slam that together. And you get a sword rifle combination. Now it looks like it's sword primarily, right? But I guess it gives you access to the rifle PAs and also has you use. So I think what it is that it allows you to combine the weapons, and then your subclass allows you to use the PAs, is how it looks to be working in this case. So Central City, cool stuff. And then the final one was the communication between PSO2 and NGS. So we can see a little bit more information about it. This is just the one they're showing off, just regular text, nothing really too big here. Show off, of course, creating symbol arts. Unfortunately, we probably still won't be able to have these on. Hopefully they police symbol arts a little bit better. I'm really tired of having to not play with symbol arts because they can be pretty fun, but unfortunately people ruin those. And then of course emotes with finger movement. I can point at you. Take that. Objection. That's kind of adorable. Yes, inquisitive. That's also kind of cute. Yo, that right there is edgy. Hang on, wait. That's some Persona edge, dude. And then they show off the new communication type stamps. And maybe we can have stamps turned on and what's it called? Symbol arts turned off. We'll have to see. But it shows off the login for PSO2 essentially. So you'll see the login screen. You'll select your character, and then you'll have an option to log into PSO2 or NGS. This is where they show off what PSO2 looks like in the new graphics. Now, I mean, it's not crazy over the top. It's pretty much just upgraded graphics of what we have currently. Again, you can adjust graphic settings. It's going to look different for everyone. This looks like basically a tier above what I currently use, maybe 2 tiers. Basically looks like tier 6 graphics, essentially +1. But it is more in line with what NGS has, so makes sense. But we're going, as you can see, just hop into the block changer, and bam, you're in NGS, just like that. And same way, if you want to go back to PSO2, you just hop into one of the Riker devices, pop back over to PSO2, and right back on the ARC ship. Fairly simplistic. Fairly intuitive, straightforward. You can see he has his original mag. Pretty cool stuff there. But that's really about it. That covers most of the important stuff from the cast itself. Now, they did go over character customization. I'm going to show you guys a little something. So here's the base character. Now, I absolutely recommend, I might put a timestamp to this in the video description, but I highly recommend checking this out all the way through. I'm going to show you the start. This is the same character, mind you, and I'm going to show you the finish. Yeah, that's the same character. Also, still same character. The character creator has gone above and beyond. It is absolutely insane. They sit in this character creator for quite a long time. They completely changed the character. You have access to all different body types. You can change into cast. You can change into fleshy. You can have access to the different ears. You have robotic ears. You have whatever you want. It's actually insane. The best part is you can also customize your animations too. If you want to be a fleshy, but you want to run like a cast, dude, you want to slide across the ground, you can do that. You absolutely can. It's crazy. Of course, they have the increased number of accessories and things like that we talked about. One thing we didn't see was the ability to change the color of accessories. Hoping that becomes a thing. It's not just tied to your character. But yeah, you can see if you want to be a fleshy, like this, I think these are cast parts specifically, but you can slide across the ground like a cast would. Of lovely, of course. You slide across the ground like a cast does. As you can see, this person has Newman ears, a Dooman horn, and cast parts. So yeah, that's a thing. That is something that can happen now. So yeah, hopefully this has given you guys enough of an idea of what to check out for PS2 NGS. I'm super excited about basically jumping into this. I'm really excited about the affixes system. Looks a lot better. The game looks really polished up. I mean, it has quite a ways to go, but it's got a really good start, and it makes me really excited to play the game itself. They do have a beta that's going to be available, I believe. I'm not sure when the beta is actually announced to go live, but the beta signups popped up a couple of days ago. I'll try to toss a link in the video description to those as well. And yeah, that's pretty much about it, guys. If you have any other questions, feel free to toss them in the comments below. As always, like on the video is much appreciated. Helps out you half of your ad block. Get the other half as well by subscribing. Both are completely free and help me out a ton. If you guys want to keep up with the content, of course, click on the bell icon to be notified of videos when they go live and community posts when they pop up. And if that's not really your jam, you can always pop over to Discord or follow me over on Twitter to get notifications through that. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me on this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Peace out.